Most of you know what is GitHub, right? So this is for purely for developers, and it's add-on knowledge for the consultants. So GitHub repository is basically is a centralized system which can store all your code repository, like source code, everything there in the GitHub. So GitHub will help you to create multiple branches out from it. So we can work individually. So without affecting the others code, we can write your own code. We can deploy into your org. You can do whatever you want. So that this will won't affect your the PS code. PS code. So basically, the GitHub offers you a lot of things. GitHub uses it to store the source code, as I said, and it's a complete history. It can maintain the history as well of each your whatever the code changes happen to your with respect to your files, and it's allow developers to collaborate. So it's basically GitHub, we have a master branch. Out of that master branch, we can multiple people can work on the same repository by using branching strategies. People will create a new branch out from the master branch and work on their repository codes, work on their codes, and push that code to the repository back to again and ask them to merge to the master code. I will explain you that in the demo session. So yeah, this is for me. Yes, this is for purely for developers, not for the consultants. As I said, it's add-on knowledge for the consultants to know how Git works, how repository works, how everything works. Yeah, as I said, the basic advantages of the Git repository is to store your code in centralized repository system. In collaboration, we can multiple people can work at a time on the same repository by using the branching strategies, and it's a backup. Whenever we lost the code, we can pick it. We can take back the code from the central repository, and we can start working again. And it's documentation for every commitments, like for every commits. When you do something on the code level, you can commit the code to the repository system. By using the documentation also, you can get it back and showcase your work. Like so let's example, we have a couple of tasks. Let's say task 1, task 2, task 3. So each one of the tasks was assigned by to Naresh, like myself. I work on the task. I will make changes to the only particular to that files, not the complete repositories. Like example, if I need any, if I want to write any trigger, I will create a new trigger, and I will write a new Apex class, and that I have implemented all the logic and just commit that file only. That only particular that file. I don't need to commit everything. So that file will go and sit under your repositories and track changes. You can track everything. Whenever you commit your changes to the Git repository, you can track everything on the centralized repository system. It will store in your central system. And features, as I said, you can add source code to GitHub, cloning repositories, there, branching strategies, pull requests, track your commitments, track your commits, documentation with respect to commit, merging with a master branch. These are all the features. I'll explain you while giving some kind of demo today. That's it about the GitHub. So I'll go to the so basically for GitHub repositories, we need GitHub login.
Naresh, sorry to interrupt, but I think just want to go back to the point of I don't know how many of you new here to that of saying, do you first understand the why part? Do all of you understand the why part? Let's before we go to how to use it, right? So any topic that we're talking about, we always have to understand the why part first. So why is it? So Naresh just took us through the what part, where he said this is what GitHub is. Where you can store your code, you can manage with different versions of the code, etc. But why do we need it? Okay, because nobody's asked that question, and I'm not asking you, Naresh. Can somebody answer this question? Why do we need GitHub, or why do we need something like this?
To store all our code, like any change that we made into our code, that will be stored into the history, and which can help us at any point of time. Let's say I have made a code, I have developed some code, and now I feel like this is not the correct. I want my previous code. Then maybe we can go to the history and use it. Also, we can share this code with every person in our team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
backup
yeah.
for backup.
So backup is one reason. Okay. Any other reason?
Version control, which will help if you have, like Sushma mentioned, right? Any issues with respect to a particular code that is deployed, in order to roll it back, that would help with the use of history of that code.
Correct. Version control, backup. Yes.
Question.
Sharing also.
Yes, sharing. So when you say sharing, basically you can share those sets of code with your team members. Okay. Yes.
To check my understanding, is it like a Google search in a broader prospect where if you have any query, you want to get an answer to a question that you have, that there will be people putting an information into Google, wherein you search for it, get answers from there, and then do a research on that as well.
Not exactly. You can make it that way. You can make it work like that. Like
Okay.
you have public GitHub repositories
Public,
which
by
act like
making it
that, but
public, generally it will act like that.
correct. But the primary, that's not like a primary feature. It can be made like that. But if you notice what others have answered, like version control, backup, sharing, those are the kind of features that you're talking about. There's one more thing which is very common and very important, which I'm
Real-time collaboration on the code.
Maybe can we take the example
correct.
of Google Drive as said for Srinivas to understand?
So for Srinivas, I'll explain it again. I'm just going to the features now. So
I think
real
it's
time.
just cloud, right? On a cloud, how we maintain our Google Docs and everything. It's for the code.
Partly yes, but there is still that big reason why it's so important. Especially in Salesforce, so all of you have done or at least known how it is done in Salesforce, right? I mean, maybe this is what you've already meant through version control or backups, but in Salesforce, take this scenario. Okay, this is very important for you to understand, everybody. Where do you by default go and write your code?
Developer console.
So right now, for Kudo, Rajlakshmi and Navin are working on this project, okay, with this, okay, and they're working on a bunch of files, okay. And like just Sushma answered my question already, that where do you write your code by default? You go and open the developer console and start writing your code.
Yes.
Okay. I open class ABC, I start making some change. Sushma, midnight, she gets an idea. She says, no, I'm going to fix this problem. She'll go and she'll open. She had that open throughout the day. She was doing something. In the midnight, she'll go change, save. Okay. And Rajlakshmi was also doing something on the same file. She didn't care to inform Sushma. Okay. And she added a couple of lines there. What is going to happen here?
Losing
Which code will stay?
Will reflect
Will both of them stay? Only one will stay? Which one will stay?
finally made one.
The latest one.
The latest one which got saved.
Okay, then so what will happen to the, because Rajlakshmi saved at 8 o'clock, Sushma saved at 12 o'clock in the midnight, right? So will Rajlakshmi's changes be there?
No.
Why not? Which is already saved, right?
Will be there until
We are overriding the changes.
We call it override because Sushma also had that window and an older version of file open on her screen for the entire half day. Maybe from the evening onwards, from evening 6 onwards, she had this file open. She was doing something. She didn't save. Rajlakshmi in the meantime opened that file, changed it, saved it.
it will be saved.
It will be saved. But at that moment it will be saved. But when Sushma goes and saves it, she's saving a different version of it where she's overridden the file which was saved by Rajlakshmi.
If it is overwritten, it won't stay. Which is made prior. Which changes are made prior won't
It
stay.
will just go away. It may not. I don't think it will give you any warning. You just open it in parallel, save. Whoever saves it one, the other person, whatever they're writing, gone.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, yeah, now console has improved. At least it doesn't close off and go away. It will give you the error. Maybe it will still be there. You can take a copy, then you can reach out and say, reach out to team members who made this change. Or maybe I'll just close out, reopen, copy paste it in Notepad temporarily, get the latest file refreshed. In browser, it's just refresh. You don't have to do anything. You just refresh the window and then take the Notepad version and then you update your changes and then save. Right? Conflict is what I want to highlight, and I was expecting as an answer like this code conflict. You know, in other technologies you don't have it because you definitely do on your local machine. Here in Salesforce, when you do developer console, you are not on local. You're always people who understand local and remote. Local is your machine, your personal computer, desktop, whatever that is. The memory that is being used is your local computer. The moment you say remote, the database, the GBs, the MBs that are being used is not your computers. It is some server sitting somewhere in the internet. Okay. So that's what is local and remote. So in Salesforce, when you're doing things on developer console, you're always making changes on remote.
There's a high chance of losing the code.
There's high chance of you overriding something or messing up with something. And that's so Salesforce way of handling that is, it says, oh, you know what, you use, if you remember last time we talked about sandboxes, I did a session on it, developer sandbox. So everybody take one sandbox, ideally. In Orient, we were able to do that. People who were there in that project, they know. Everybody had their sandbox. You screw up whatever you want. Only when it is ready and testing, then you say the change it and we'll manage it accordingly. But you still have to be manually taking care of it. Okay, I know what changes is coming in, and then I'm pushing it to a different sandbox. But even there, we have a lot of challenges. Naresh was the deployment manager there. He knows what kind of challenges we face. And anybody who has done any deployment can imagine the kind of problem that can come up if we don't manage that. So conflict is a huge reason, because version control backup, you can argue saying, I'll just take a backup version. I don't want to learn all this GitHub. I'll just take backup. Because there's a download button on every. If you open an Apex class or trigger from setup in Salesforce, you actually have a download button. I can just say, okay, every day I'll take a download. I have a version. I'll maintain it in my local. And when you're downloading, you're actually maintaining those versions in your local again. See, local. That's your local again. It's not in Salesforce. So initially it was not there 10 years back. There was no versioning. There was not enough support, not enough tools to say, okay, we can merge in. And I cannot tell you how big a nightmare it was for a larger team to work on Salesforce projects. It was almost every day that you used to overwrite. Almost every day that you were overwriting Salesforce. It was just a matter of how many lines are we overwriting. So slowly now there are a bunch of DevOps tools. So people who are thinking DevOps is just Azure and DevOps is just some Microsoft thing. No. Any developer operations tool that you can use is actually part of DevOps, right? So Azure is just one of them. And there are Salesforce projects where Azure is actually used as DevOps. So don't get confused, it didn't allow it, because people have a lot of misconception about DevOps. Any technology stack can use any DevOps, but yeah, there are certain supported ones. So in Salesforce, last time when Bala gave that session, if you remember, Gear set.
Copado,
yeah. Copado, Gear set. So though they say they are deployment tools, but they're proper DevOps tools, where you learn the tool, and then you say, okay, this is how I can smartly deploy and still maintain my code versions, conflicts, everything. So there is a competition going on there in the DevOps tools for Salesforce as well. But GitHub is like the repository. You're saying, okay, this is what the underlying thing is. They'll find tool undachu undapochu. If you notice when Naresh explained the what part, and again, guys, I want you to note every session that we want to do. Please do it in this way: what, why, and then we go to the how part. Okay, the demo part. In the past few sessions, we've not done that. So let's get back to that habit. So I'm just talking to the why part. So he's already explained what. It can do this, it can save your code, it can have versions, you can see who has done that change, etc., etc. Okay. So on top of this, you can always build a tool and say, okay, I'll not learn how to do this. I'll just click one button here, one button there, one button here. And those buttons are nothing but builders tools as Copado, GearSet, etc., etc., etc. You will come across certain Salesforce DevOps tools as well, but strategically, it's still branching and making sure they're not overwriting things and very smoothly deploying to the next level of your software development lifecycle. So that's the why part. I hope I've made you understand the importance of this. And most of us, why are we not doing this? If you ask me, Roshan, important because if you notice, most of you are just one or two people in the project, except Orient. And there was an idea of using that, but we just got too busy there that we could never set up one properly. But because you're doing one or two people in the project, we're not spending, because that will become overhead again. Meer urne go GitHub vaadta ante overhead ayipothadi malli ante time, if you have to learn and do all that. But the moment you are in slightly larger project, we can locally start looking at GitHub and say, okay, let's maintain this. If something screws up, I always have a version. And not just version. 1 year tarvata నాకు similar project ఉంది, ఆ project నాకు కావాలంటే right now how you taking backups, all of you just take a backup of your class. Okay, Orient lo we have done something. For example, we did a complex approval process. Okay, but we don't have a metadata file of it downloaded. Prashant, do you have the metadata download copy downloaded version? No, we don't, right? So after 1 year, we'll not remember. But if I had the metadata version, it can be pushed. GitHub is like everything is a file in Salesforce, right? So if that is actually saved, I can also go back to that in future and say, come back and say, okay, let me go search how I did it, because I will not remember after 1 year how, right? So GitHub also serves that as that repository. That's why it's called as repository, but not just for immediate needs, but also for your future needs. And it's a call of how long do you want to keep your repositories, 1 year, 2 year. Different companies have different decision making there, how long they want to keep it, but that's what it is. All right, yeah. So yeah, that's the why part. You've seen the what part. Yeah, Naresh, please proceed. I hope I've added some value there.
So to push your code, to push your code repository to the GitHub, we need a GitHub login access. So it's a free of cost. You can log in into the github.com and you can sign up and you can use that. So this is mine. You can see this is mine, and here we need to create one repository here by clicking on new. I have already created a new repository to make to push my local code to GitHub. So this is my repository here. I need to create this, and to push the code from Visual Studio Code right from here to my local to the repository, we need to copy this one. We need to HTTPS copy this. So these are the commands. You can see the git init, git add, adme, git commit, git branch, git remote, git push. These are the initial commands we need to do that. So I have created a sample project here. It's a sample Salesforce project. Go to terminal and click on new. So initially, if you want to check what is the git status right now, we can give the command like git status here under terminal. You can go to terminal and click on new terminal and git status.
Do we have to install something before we start doing all this?
Don't think so.
We need that Git to be installed on our system.
Git we have to install it in your local systems.
Right. So basically, to be able to maintain versions and backups, and from local to remote, remote to local, you will first step is actually installing the Git, right? And then
for Windows machines, I think it's default. Don't think we have to do anything, right?
Yeah, for Windows machine, it's default. I haven't installed any Git in my local machine, as far as I know.
Yeah, for Windows, I am sure we don't need it. For Mac, I think we need it.
I think Mac we need it, right? Sushma, you must have installed
Mac
it,
we
right?
need it.
Yeah.
I have
installed on my Windows also. I don't know. It was not there on my system, so I've installed on my Windows also.
Yeah.
When you install Node.js, it will automatically install the GitHub as well.
Okay. So I was not having that Node.js.
Maybe that's the reason.
Why I have to install.
So when you have a Node.js will automatically install your GitHub on behalf of yourself. So you can see if this project is already tied with any repository, then you can see the Git status by giving the command. No Git repositories as of now. So just simply go back to this thing. Git initialization. Git init is used to git initialize, like this project belongs to the Git. So by giving the Git that command, it is initialized. You can see initialized empty Git repository to so and so. So there is a .git Git will be added to your repository. Like in your local machine, it will add it to that. So later on, you can add the first commit. Git commit is used to commit all your changes. So right now, if you want to check its status again, these are the new files that have been added in this repository. These are all the files. So if I give git commit is my first commit, it will commit all your changes to your local, not to your repository. It will there in your local with that git command. Can you check for status again? Git add, all the files were added to your local machine. Git commit, as I said, git commit is used to commit your first changes to your machine. So now all the changes have been in your Git, but not in the repository. If you want to push all your changes to repository, you need to give the command like this: git remote add. So this is a one-time setup. So only one time we have to add your origin to your repository. So you can give that git add origin, and this is my repository where you can see github.com/learn-more/demo.git. It will go and sit under this this repository, demo repository. As soon as I hit enter, it was added. The second command, git push origin. Now we are pushing our local code, this complete code. We are pushing all this complete code to this repository by giving that command, git push origin. Git push first. Okay, git push. It's not name, it's origin. You need to give git push -- setup --upstream origin master stream ground push origin master. It will ask for my browser login credentials. I have given it authentication. Only give the
So what are you doing, Naveen here? Are you, Naresh, sorry, are you pushing this to server or into your
yes,
local server, right?
from my local. You can see now. This is my first
Mm.
commit. All my changes being committed to my local. Then I push all the code to centralized
So,
repository. So this is my central repository. I just now push the first commit, and this is the code. So here we can do. So initially, what large organization will do, like they'll push the initial code like this. Right from here, they will do some branching mechanism, and they will create some branches right from here. Right now there is no branches. We can create branches from here also. Let's example uh, first branch. Create a new branch. So I have created the first branch here. You can see I have created a new branch here. So I can work on this. I can work on this branch, and I can push my changes to this branch. After I did my branch code changes, I'll ask for merge to the master branch.
so
So this is
same operations can be done through PowerShell as well, right?
PowerShell. I'm not sure, but the same can done through as another user interface UI called Git Desktop. Git Desktop. So this is
Got
a
it. Yeah.
Git Desktop application. We can clone it here by clicking on clone repository. We can clone that by giving this URL. Where can I find that? Second demo. Over here, you can copy this one. Copy it. You can give the repository, GitHub repository. You can directly give the repository like this. Clone.
Got it. So this will create a local copy.
This will create a local copy. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Got it.
So once the local copy comes up here, you can see the demo branch. Current repository is demo, and the current branch is master. And I can create a branch out from here as well. You can see the first branch. If I click on first branch, now you are in the first branch. You are in the first branch repository. You can go and work on this branch, and you can commit again. It was. It is at altokk projects demo. Altokk projects demo. So now this points to the first branch code repository, not your the master branch. Master. So to know that, by using the git status command, nothing to commit, working on to your own master branch. Git checkout first commit. Not the first commit. First branch. You can give the command like this as well. First branch. Even it does not match the file, it was git status. A master branch. It's showing as a master branch, but you can work on like this. You can switch the branch from the current branch here itself. You can go there and I can work on there. You can do some changes again.
We can
From
give -b, git checkout -b and the branch name.
Git checkout -b branch name is to create a new branch.
Oh, okay.
but UI use JC, we can do it here.
Here
Upper
I'm not getting. Here it's showing up as some.
Bottom left corner.
Here it is showing up as a master. It's not giving the new one.
I used to check. Okay.
Checkout detached master branch.
What do you want to check? The newly created branch, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, left side, third one. Can you go to the third one? Click on that.
Yeah.
Only changes push pull. Checkout to. It's not giving up. This is not giving up. I'll do one thing. I'll close this window.
But can you check if the folder is created for that branch?
Yeah, it's there.
It's created, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's there. It's there.
Then it should show up.
It should show up. So yeah, as I said, we can check out here and we can do we can push the code, we can pull the code. Git push is easy to push the code. Git pull is easy to pull the code from our central repository, and you can work on it. You can commit again. Git commit again. And the commit is called git commit. Command is called git commit. Git commit is easy to commit your code changes to your local machine. Git push again. You have to put git push. So this is how Git will work. But I'm sure Git will give you more flexible than rather than copy backup of your files in your local machine. It's better to maintain all the files in the Git repository, as I suggested. It's still not giving. It's taking some time to give the repository name here.
So if you're waiting for it, I just have one question. Like, all these people who code here, do you understand Git the way it is being discussed here? Let me go. I mean, I definitely hear Prashant and Sushma talking. Naresh, of course, yes. Rajlakshmi, have you used Git anytime, or you understand the basics of
I didn't
full
use
push?
this, but I plan to use it. This is useful for me.
So you understand this full push remote local branch?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Sriram, how about you?
Yes, sir, I understand it. Like I did small projects using Git and VS Code.
Perfect. So I think that's it from the dev side, right? Functional people, of course, people if you're looking at for the first time, definitely. This is not like you're starting from what is full, what is push, what is branch. So that's okay if you're not understanding. To be honest, I struggled a lot when I first used this because everybody explained this to me with an assumption that I know something about it, always. So it was quite tough for me to actually get a hang of it. Even the basic pull push.
If you know the commands, it's really very cool. If you work with
No,
the
it's not about the command.
commands,
I'm talking about the concept. I'm talking about the concept itself was not something which I could never understand. What is pull, push?
why?
No?
It's, yeah,
Go ahead.
it's giving
Probably
some.
if people are not aware, or you can just give a briefing of those commands, Naresh, on the first screen which you showed, right? While cloning it to a local, just.
This one, cloning of repository, branching strategies, pull request,
No,
back to
they were
commands.
commands, right? They were commands on that
Commands
site,
are
GitHub site,
GitHub
the
site
first 5,
commands.
6.
Yeah.
Pull, push, merge.
You're talking about this one. Here
On
we
the site,
don't.
we had those commands, right? Is it in
On the home page.
Wiki?
Home
No,
page.
we
On
don't.
master branch, I guess.
No, we don't get. Once you push your code, you don't get the branches. If you want to see that, you need to create another
Create a new one. Okay.
repository then.
Okay. If people are not aware, probably we can just quickly go through this.
If you create a new one, you will get that comments.
If I am not wrong, it's like insert and retrieve, right, Naresh?
Push and pull.
Yeah, it's like inserting
Inserting and retrieving. Yes.
retrieving the code from Git, right?
Yeah, pushing your code from your local machine to repository and pulling your code from repository to your local machine.
Yes.
These are the comments you're talking about. Commit, branch.
So one thumb rule I followed, people who were not clear, people who are clear can ignore, is you should always look from the local perspective. So when I'm saying push, I'm pushing from the local. When I'm saying pull, it's pulling from the remote. That's where actually I used to be confused. But if you are always from the perspective of your machine, I think all of them will make sense. Push, pull, and
Push, pull, commit, add, pivot, track. Lot of commands are there. Once you know
the
that,
basic ones at least, the add, the add, commit, push, and push.
I'm still wondering why it's error. It's still in my master branch. I don't know. Let's say if I give some space and enter git status, you can see I have just now changed the package XML file. I haven't changed, in fact. I just gave some enter file, just a space after this line. It is showing me if I give the command git status, it's giving me like this file has been modified. If you want to push that file to your local machine, git add again git add and dot. It will add that file to a Git repository. Git status. Now, if you want to check whether it is added or not, git status. You can see still it's giving git add dot git status. See, you can see I have added to my local machine. It was modified. Once it is in green, it was added to your local, not to your central repository. Git push, git commit -m. You can give the description: package XML file being modified. Git push set upstream origin master.
Why we are writing this in git push set upstream?
It will go and sit under your Git repository. Usually, it will ask for git push origin master is sufficient, but it's asking for you see it's the console itself asking to give this command git push substream origin master.
Okay.
So that's the reason. If I go back to my repositories demo, it should be here. You can see only that particular file has been modified. Package.xml file has been modified 1 minute ago. You can track like this as well. So these all files are committed long back, and this is a new file which was modified in just a minute back.
Origin master is repository.
So this is at master level.
Okay, origin repository. Origin means.
No, I didn't get your
Origin means master.
Origin means it's origin. It's not master. If you're giving which origin, like if I give origin and the branch name as the first branch, it will go and sit under this branch.
Okay.
Instead of origin. Origin next to the origin is this is the branch name.
Okay, so exactly the location you are mentioning.
Yeah, this is the branch name. Yes.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Moreover, if you once you start working on the Git, you can get to know all these commands, and you can easily understand why Git and what Git and commands, everything. That's it from my end. Any questions? Anything? No. Okay.
Is this considered like a middleware for Salesforce app?
No.
It's not related in any way.
No, it's not related. It's as I said, it's a central repository to maintain all your source code.
Okay.
That's it. And you can one thing I forgot to tell. You can integrate Jenkins as well. You can integrate Jenkins. You can integrate Git bucket. Sorry, not Git bucket. Some other deployment tools are there. You can integrate that tools, including with this branch, with this GitHub as well. So once you push your code, automatically that Jenkins will trigger the code, and it will build your code. Once it's succeeded, then only you can merge request. You can raise it. Otherwise, you can check the errors and you can fix the errors as well. Again, you have to do that. So basically, it's a what called deployment process as well. We can include with this GitHub. Yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Naresh, for that. I hope it was useful for people who knew, maybe a refresher, and people who didn't know. So you can actually, so if your projects are not using Git, I'll tell you. So this is an example of, you can have your what do you say? You can have your personal Git setup, okay, and you can maintain your own project versions and backups. Okay, you don't have to worry about whether the project is using it or not at this moment. That way, you'll be able to whatever version control, like take backups, revert to any of the previous versions, do all of that for yourself. Okay, so let me first stop this recording. I don't have anything else to add in this recording.